So tell me if this is something you've experienced before. You buy something that you actually thought through. You didn't just buy it, you actually let it sit in the cart for a very long time before deciding that yes, you actually wanted it, in an attempt not to overconsume. And then you get it in the mail, you try it on, and it doesn't fit the way you think it would. But you still think that you can make it work. So you wear it, you style it. The second you get home a couple of hours later, you rip it off your body, and you say, oh, these are super uncomfortable. But you're determined for some reason to make these pants work. So you don't return them. And then it's 2 years later and you haven't worn them since that day. Can anyone else relate? The pants in question are these pants. I really loved that it was a black trouser, but it had really fun purple and pink pinstripes going through them. It was supposed to be an oversized trouser, and instead it's a very fitted trouser, and they're just not comfortable. So what I decided to do on a whim one day was make them into Renaissance breeches. I know that I saw Angela Clayton make a pair of Renaissance breeches semi-recently, and I'm not on Instagram, but I have been seeing these creators' pictures on Pinterest lately, and I believe their username is Dear Hyacinthus. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I have seen several of their photos on Pinterest, and I just have to say, love every picture. The styling is just mwah, mwah, so good. Love it. I want to dress like this every day. So they have both inspired me to make these pants into breeches. Men's breeches during the Renaissance could be at the knee or even very, very short, putting the 1970s and 80s booty short to the test, which, by the way, I really don't know why more masculine clothing isn't just more fun. I made like a mid-thigh length, kind of breaking the difference between the two, and I want to show you how I made it. You'll see me again in the outro, but let me show you how I made this. The first order of business was to take these pants apart. I think this took up most of my time for this project. They were serged together very well. Once I had all the pieces I needed, I had shorts with the side seams opened, the legs I cut off, one still intact and one separated by front and back leg, the original hems of the pant legs, which were the perfect size for my thighs, and I'm using them as my cuffs for my breeches, and lastly, my pockets, which I'm using as linings and facings. I'm using the intact pant leg for my new waistband, which I wanted to have this nice flattering V shape. Actually, it's harder than I thought to explain what I'm doing, so let me illustrate it instead. So here are the two pant legs. One I kept intact, and on the seam line, I cut out the front waistband, the self-lining for the front waistband, and the back waistband, which I separated into two pieces. I then ran out of space, and I'll show you what I did with the back lining later. With the second leg, I separated the front and back leg and cut about 5 inches off the end. The larger section I used as side panels to widen the shorts, and the shorter sections I cut out triangles to add some width to the inseam. Once those sections were pinned in and sewed, I started cutting up the pockets. Right now I'm cutting out the facings of the pockets, but I will be keeping it around for something else later. I'm going to be using the rest of the pockets for my back waistband lining. It was a bit of a puzzle trying to figure out how to use these pieces in the best way possible, but I did it. And by sewing these bigger blocks together and marking out the waistband, I now had lining. Then I sewed the waistband to its lining. Now it's time to use those pocket facings. I needed them for my back opening as plackets. So I cut out the basic shape, sewed up the edges, and started attaching them at the back seam. Now, once again, what I filmed doesn't fully explain how to sew these back plackets, but if you've never done it before, here's another illustrated breakdown. Here's an extremely quick sketch of my breeches. I took out the back seam by about 5 to 6 inches, and for the sake of clarity, I'm going to be marking the left side in pink and the right side in blue. Here's the shape I cut out with 2 layers and a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I then ironed those inside and then attached it to the raw edge on the center back seam. I did this to both sides, but on the right side, I flipped that placket to the inside. You can hand stitch this at the top of the waistband edge if you want to, but I usually don't. Then I attached the correct sides of the snaps to the left and right placket. You can also do buttons. And once I closed those snaps, you cannot tell there's any closure from the outside of the garment. Magic. My next step was to attach the new waistband to the shorts, and since the shorts are now much wider than my waist, I had to do some nice pleating. You can gather this if you want to, but I tend to like to pleat when I can. Since the shorts do not make the V shape that the waistband does, I quickly top stitched that V down at the front. I then pleated the bottom of the shorts to the cuffs. Now this took a bit of work because if the pleats were not correct, it would pull weirdly at the pleats at the top and it would look really bad when I put them on. So I definitely had to do some playing around with pleat placement. That's hard to say. I then did a quick edge finishing stitch on all the exposed seams, and then I decided I wanted a way to change the fit of the shorts on the waist. So I poked some holes and made some quick hand-stitched grommets. These are not the prettiest, since at the time I didn't have a grommet maker, but they'll do. Also, I have since bought myself a grommet kit. Now listen, with my theatrical costume design background, I learned the magic of Whopper Poppers a long time ago, aka extra large snaps. Are they the best closure? No. Are they the fastest? Yes. And with those 4 snaps up the back seam, I had a nice simple closure, and the lacings help with the ability to make the breeches fit tighter or looser depending on how I'm feeling that day. This was the pile of scraps I had at the end, which shows me that I used as much of these pants as I possibly could. And here is the final result. And that is the pants. Wow, I really, really love these pants. They are so different and unique to anything else that I have in my closet. I really understand why this became such a trend. They are so comfortable. They don't slip down your legs like I thought they would. For some reason, the way that they're attached, at least for me with the way that I made them, the back as you walk kind of pulls itself back up again. And so the leg doesn't slip down as you're wearing it. Wow. Also, they're so comfy. You can roll around in these things and they make your legs look so good and your butt. There's no downsides to these shorts, in my opinion. Super happy with how these came out, and it was a relatively quick project. Probably the longest part was just taking the original pants apart. That took a good portion of the first day. If I didn't have that, I probably would have gotten these shorts done in like a day. That is gonna be it for me this week. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, all that good stuff, if you would like to see more from me. And hope you come back real soon. See you in a while. Crocodile, I don't know, I'm trying new outros. Did that work? Bye!